So I did some modding to my bike, and so I got a basket originally for my bike, and I realized that all the baskets that you can find that are at least removable, that I would use for like shopping or something, they require this space right here. So I'd have to actually move the screen, and I don't really want to do that. So I ended up just making one, and I attached it using like suspension rubber cords, so that way I could attach a speaker to it. So it's also working as a pretty much like an ABR. It's not really meant to be clear because I usually listen to the music with my headphones on. It's more meant to just warn people behind, you know, like if I'm, you know, behind them that I'm approaching, if I'm on the sidewalk or something, so I don't have to like, you know, use my horn and scare the hell out of them. Or if it's during the daytime and I can't strobe my lights. At nighttime you could flash them, and I guess could, you know, but the only other option is just to, you know, shout hey to get them out of the way, and that's kind of annoying. And that's also a problem with bikes being like just really quiet in general. Even electric bikes, you know, when you're revving, it doesn't really make any sound. So oftentimes if you're on the sidewalk and there's a bunch of people in front of you, you don't have any way of getting them to know you're approaching. So where else better to put the sound than exactly in front? So this actually sounds a lot louder than it really is. If I was outdoors, you could barely hear it. And the main function of it, being as it's connected, just suspended by just these, it's balanced between these rubber cords and foam that I put in here. This actually is a pocket that I loaded with foam, and I was able to tune it so that it would maximize the amount of rumble that I get throughout the bike. So you can actually feel the rumble of the bass all the way from the front through to the chair. Oh, the song just happens to end. There's no bass happening right now. But yeah, like any of the bass rumble, just since the bike is hollow, it works as, you know, like bass ports, the same way that sound travels through like a tunnel. Bikes being hollow, any resonance that travels through any of the air inside is gonna end up traveling throughout all the air inside of the bike, the same way that ports work. But yeah, hear how as the bass is picking up, you can actually hear the rumble of the bass through the chair. And actually there's barely any bass going on. Just waiting to it to kick in. I'm just playing an NCS right now. The bass should be hitting soon. It is. Yeah, so with Samsung or Apple, they both have the ability to connect with two Bluetooth headphones at the same time, or two Bluetooth sources at the same time. So I got a DIY Bluetooth board and just connected it mono, because bass, you know, only it's all mono summed from 40 down anyway. So as far as the rumble, all I really care about is monophonic anyway. So there's no reason why I'd want to add it to, and this is only 30 watts, so it's barely even using any power, and you still get like this much rumble, and it just feels pretty rad when you actually have your headphones on and your bike actually, like, you know, rumbles along with the music. Even when you have, like, you know, the ambient hearing on, you can still hear the music and feel the music through the bike, which is cool. And yeah, again, it works like better than honking at people when you're behind them. And for as loud as it sounds right now, I'm actually speaking at a very, like, library volumes, and I'm matching the volume of the music on that thing. So that thing is pretty much playing as loud as library volumes. So if I was out in public, I actually wouldn't be annoying anyone at all. It would be barely audible, but it'd be audible enough that if I was coming from behind they would be able to tell that I'm kind of, you can tell it's still a DIY process, so I just took cords everywhere. Kind of wrapped it up there, but that's about it. I'll eventually get the wires out of the way and paint it black and clean it up. Might even like actually tuck it through the frame. But yeah, I just really like that sensation. Yeah, so yeah, I just want to show off some of the modding that I figured that you could do on your own if you wanted to. Like, I just made this basket here just because like it was something that I couldn't find a solution for online anyway. So, and I turned it into a speaker that would be more appropriate for using it for just a bass rumbler than for a speaker. So it's not really, it doesn't need to be very high fidelity because I'm already listening to music through my headphones. And besides that, I'm just showing off my cool elliptical handcuff, where now I know the position. It has a wider diameter, which gives you more control of exactly the position of where it is. So I know exactly where it stops and starts, because when it's flat, that means is that it's maximum. I'm sorry. And when it's, you know, lax, it's facing kind of this way. So flat is straight towards the brake, and that's max. And that's not very hard to forget. This is the prototype for it. So I had to make something that would be able to fit through here, but then make it elliptical, so that it would actually pinch, and then be strong enough so that I could actually grip it and roll it all the way through, and then release it, and then it would pinch again. And since it's elliptical and made out of steel, once I released it, it went back to its elliptical shape, and it grips like it's impossible to move. My hands are blistered from actually using a vise to get this thing on. So you can imagine how hard this would be to remove if you wanted to actually try to pull this thing off. It's impossible. Yeah, but I'm actually gonna have some fun with the other side, which is gonna take advantage of how it's not a twist throttle. So, being as it's not a twist throttle, I was thinking about using like a labyrinth style, like code, so I can use like basically if I use like a BD, for instance, I could make a puzzle box. So I could actually just kind of unscrew it and then just remove it, while other people wouldn't be able to just steal it from me. So it would be something that I could just quickly go like dip, 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 and then pull off. And that would be a pretty easy way to get people not to want to steal your bike, is if you could just take your handles off. But if someone's actually confronting you, it'd be even better if you could pull the other side off, and it would actually be, you know, since this is a hollow tube, you could imagine the size of the profile of a menacing object that you could actually sheath into there. You could pretty much fit like a curved, menacing object, as long as you want, like about 6 inches. Yeah, and then once you're done with it, just plug it back in, and it would just be clip style, where you just clip it back in. But to remove it, I want it to have a lock combination, so that it wouldn't be easy for anyone to remove, or any kids to accidentally take it off or something like that and end up just running around with it. But I wonder if anybody would be interested in buying the bar if I made them in bulk. It would be kind of expensive to continue making them unless I made it in very, very high scale. But making it for just me, it's just like a fun side project since I live next to like a forge. Yeah, so I made a second one already in preparation for my wife's bike. Actually sounds surprisingly clear just by using an actuator inside of this chamber. And this box is just something I made myself just so I could carry like my headphones, backup headphones, wipe off my helmet, visor, stuff that happens like, you know, fix-it kits, etc. And this one just locks in place. And if I wanted to, I could actually like lock it because these holes actually go all the way through, and I could put a lock in there if I wanted to. But you know, I have an alarm on my bike anyway, so if anything messes with it, then it would actually make a lot of noise. And where I live, typically whenever I go into a store, the greeter at the door actually washes my bike for me anyway, because I typically know them, so there's not anything I have to worry about. I'm just letting the music go because I like feeling the bass. I'm like addicted to bass, as you could probably tell by this, and that. And I have like a what's called a bazooka sub in my bedroom that I kind of keep right next to my bed, so that it shakes my entire bed. But yeah, it's so cool that, like, you know, we're living at a time where it's almost like the 1920s in a good way, where, like, you know, with the advent of the e-wheel, people are already like bringing back things like flywheel motors, like rotary engines, basically flywheel motors, and you could just like mod the hell out of these things. You could get your M1 license if you wanted to, especially in California, really easily, if you go through the California loophole, and not even need a driver's license, which is really cool. It works kind of like getting a pilot's license, essentially. But yeah, besides that, I don't know what else to show off on my bike. Oh yeah, I did that. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool because it matches with this. And the lights off. That happens. You know, it looks pretty rad. So when I'm parked at the side, if I have to, like, you know, like park at the side of like the street or something like that, I'm extremely visible because orange and blue are complementary opposites, and so the blue makes the orange extra radiant, just like the same way the sun makes the sky blue by being its complementary opposite. So this basically, that looks almost like it's glow in the dark, but it's just orange paint. I got some orange paint here on accident. It's like forensic evidence that I did a sloppy job. But yeah, even these glow orange. But yeah, anyway, just probably time to end the video. I just thought I'd want to share all the cool stuff that you could do with your bike if you wanted to, because you have pretty much all the freedom in the world to do it, as long as you have, like, you know, the resources around you to get it done. It's really cool that you could just pretty much, I mean, people put so much work into, like, their cars, and you could put a fraction of the work into a bike and just make it way more fun and way cooler and make it just, like, work better. I get this thing up to like 45 miles per hour, and it's a torque sensor, and there's a few other details about it that I don't want to mention. Just like, I don't want to mention, like, you know, the full purpose of the modification of the handle, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But for as it is right now, it works perfectly, and I'd be happy if I just stopped with it right now and just continued, you know, just made the other end, just left it end normal. But the idea of actually being able to remove one of your handles seems like just generally a good idea, to make it so that people wouldn't want to steal your bike, because, like, how the hell are they going to ride your bike away with a missing handle? Especially you're menacing them with, like, that same missing handle. So yeah, just, but like, the only issue is you don't want, you know, you can't just have it twist off, and you can't have it tug off. You'd have to have some sort of a mechanism. So I'm gonna use a labyrinth and kind of like a safe lock, so I can just quickly do, like, you know, feel the clicks of the BBs as I twist forward and backward to unlock it as I'm pulling outward. But otherwise, no one would even know, and there'd be no way to know how to actually remove the handle unless you actually knew the combination. And BBs are very strong when they're forged in the labyrinth that's made out of steel. I just got back from a bike party, and, like, it put my bike to shame. This isn't all the lights that I have on my bike, but oh my god, like, the lights that they have on their bikes nowadays, because so many people have e-bikes, and they have, you know, your battery could charge your phone like, what, like 60 times, so you could, you know, bring an extra battery with you if you wanted to, and just use that thing as like an auxiliary battery, or just use it as you're riding and split the plug and just blast music through stereo JBL, like, boom boxes, or whatever they're called, those, like, soundcore boxes or whatever. And the bike party is pretty much, like, led by music, so it needs to have someone actually play music loud enough, and you pretty much just, like, gather around whoever's playing music that you like. That's usually how it works if you've never been to a bike party. And then, like, you ride for about, you know, 2 hours, something like that, and then you get to the destination at the end where you see the fireworks, and everyone kind of just turns into basically a rave, where the bikes become like the light source, and then you get all this, like, bubbles and lasers and fireworks and stuff, and it's pretty rad. And it's just a pretty cool way of networking with people and stuff too, because it's all just, like, like-minded people. There's a project that we did in town recently where we actually started marking potholes, and it took about a week before it caught on, and all of a sudden, like, everyone else started doing it, and we actually have pretty much, like, the whole entire district, like, marked, so that people don't have to get their tires popped anymore by accidentally hitting a pothole. And also, when you're riding a bike, you know, you see the pothole from the distance, so you can ride around it, swerving, versus actually, you know, just inadvertently ending up, like, in the anti-air and then hitting pretty much like a curb, which sucks if you're not standing. Because if you get a shock that just like, you know, hits you from the tailbone all the way up to the top of your spine into your skull, which is a bad kind of shock. This is a good kind of shock. But yeah, this video's gone long enough. Anyway, thanks. Look how rad that is.